Okay, thank you, Aaron, for your wonderful talking. Let's go to our online Q&A part. Firstly, let's see the first question from audience. The first question is, which CMA, CPA, or ACCA should take first?
Okay, I kind of touched on this a little bit. I think in a way, it's not a matter of which one you take first. It's what is best for what you're going to do. What do you like? Do you like the internal or do you like the external? That's the first question. And depending upon which of those types of accounting that you like, that answers the question of which one you should take first. Like I said, like in my own example, I knew I liked management accounting, so I took the CMA first. And it's also not a matter of taking all of these or taking many. A lot of people will take 2 and 3 and 4 of these just to make their resume look better. I'm not sure that adds as much to your value as an employee as a person might think. I could easily have benefited. Again, I took the CMA. I could have benefited from taking the CPA a few years later. It would have done all of the things I said before about adding more knowledge, being up to date. So that would have been a good route to take. So I would recommend to people they take the exam that corresponds with the type of work they like, and then take the other one later. So that's the order I would do that in. Does that answer your question?
I'm sure. So the second question we selected is, let me see. What do you think an accountant should prepare for his job?
I have a question for you on that. Do you mean prepare for a job when you've already been hired and you want to prepare for that job? Or do you mean just prepare for looking for a job?
Thanks, Aaron.
Pardon?
Thank you.
What I would say is to prepare in either case, either way, a person should take some apprenticeship jobs, non-paying jobs in the summer when they're off of school, or even maybe when they're in school. That doesn't have to be very many hours, but that really counts a lot for employers. If they see that you have you've actually had some experience, that you're willing to actually jump in and do the work before you graduate, that means a lot. And I can say that because I've hired a lot of accountants. And if I see that someone who's just graduated from school and they've actually worked in a business setting, in an office setting, that means a lot as someone who's hiring. You should also, to prepare, again, join these networking clubs. I mentioned that the institute, when you pass the exam, you are in an institute. But before that, there's always, at least here in the US and in my hometown, there are clubs you can join, professional clubs. They might just be called, the young professionals of the city. And you can join that club, and it's basically social, but everybody's in the same field, and so you network with these people. You find out what they're doing, what they know, what kind of jobs are out there, what's happening in the profession. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to network. And I hope you know what I mean by networking. It's just meeting and talking with other people that are in your similar position. And at least here in the US, there are many clubs like this. You can find them online or elsewhere, and you just meet once a month, maybe a couple times, and you actually learn a lot. You get help, and you can find jobs this way too, very, very, very often. The other thing I would say is a lot of people are afraid to do this, but when I was interviewing for positions, I would ask for the name of someone who works there that I can talk to. Before I would take the job, I would want to talk to someone who's already working for that company. And I know that sounds a little bit, a lot of people are afraid to do that, I was afraid to do that the first time. But they're often willing to do that. A person usually likes to talk about what they do, and it can be really helpful to understand the culture of that company, and that will mean a lot. So generally, what I'm saying in all of this is for a person to really put him or herself out there and meet people. Don't be afraid of meeting people, talking to people, calling them up later. It's all very beneficial. And usually people like to be involved. I liked to be involved in these networks. I liked helping other people who were trying to advance in their careers. You're not really making them do much that they don't want to do, to be honest. Okay, so that's about all I have to say for that question. I hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Aaron. I'm pretty sure this is a good answer. Okay, here comes
Good.
the third question. Let me see. The third question from a student major in accounting. He wants to ask Aaron, is that better, be a cashier in a big company or an accounting assistant in a small company?
Okay, I think I understand that question pretty well. Now, a lot of this will depend upon the individual's preference. Now, for me, it was obvious, and it was very obvious even as I went along. I wanted to be, I would have chosen the cashier, I would have chosen the accounting assistant for the small company. I've worked in big companies, multinational companies, small companies. I've worked in private companies, public companies, and I was lucky that my first job was with a smaller private company. I didn't plan it that way, but I'm looking back on it. I think that ended up being the right decision because you get to see the entire company. You're going to be doing a lot of different types of work in the finance field, and you're going to be interacting with a lot of different people in other departments in a small company. If you're in a big company doing that cashier job, as you said here, your experience is going to be very narrow. It's going to be very limited. A big company has a lot of resources, so there's advantages there. But if you're for a person starting out, I would always recommend that they get a good, solid, but smallish company, because you just get so much more exposure to so many different areas. And then when you figure out what you like, you can then go move to a bigger company and pursue that part that you like the most. So you can go to a small company, figure out what you want to do, and then go to a big company and do that thing that you figured out that you like to do. And that way you can create a lot more value by having had the exposure to so many other departments that you would not have gotten otherwise. So ultimately, you want to choose the environment that's best for you. For me, I've had, like I said, I've had experience in big, small, public, private. The best fit for me was a medium-sized private company. Now, that's just a personal preference. A person graduating and working for a while, they'll figure out what they like. But a private company is very different from a public company. A small company is very different from a big company. And you just have to try that out and figure out what's best for you. And then take the next, as you progress through your career, follow that path that is best for you, that you like the most. Okay?
Thanks, Aaron. Here comes the student side. The qualified personnel in accounting industry is saturated, and the threshold is very low, and the competition is fierce. How to improve his competitiveness in the workplace?
Mm-hmm. Really, I touched on many of those things. First of all, again, if you can get some sort of job, even if it doesn't pay anything and it doesn't take too many hours, have some experience. If you have some experience on your resume, on your CV, that carries a lot of importance to an employer. A lot of people graduate without any experience. And I'm not talking about a full-time job. Even if it's just a weekend thing, and even if you don't get paid, the fact that you've had some experience means a lot to someone who is hiring. Because there's just a lot of things you have to teach a new employee, and they're going to have learned a lot of those things if they had any kind of experience. So that's a lot of time that an employer will save. And these people are busy. Your boss is going to be very busy. He or she does not want to spend a lot of time on very, very basic things. So I would have that experience. Having this certification will certainly help. And having some practical tools. I mean, I'm always surprised how many people come out of college and don't know Excel, don't know how to use Excel. It was always something that bothered me when I hired people, like they didn't know the basics, or they had just very, very basic understanding of it. If I was, giving advice to someone just coming out of college, aside from what I just said, I would also say, do something that gives you an accreditation in Excel, an 8-hour course or 10-hour course, something that you can show that says that this product, because you're going to use it a lot. And companies don't want to spend a lot of time teaching you that. They want you to learn that. If you can come in with some sort of experience and show that you know something like Excel very well, you're going to stand out from the competition.
I'm pretty sure your answer will be very helpful. Here comes the last question. This question from a student who majored in financial management. He wants to know: is it better for him to go to the financial department in a company, or just the accounting firm?
Mm-hmm. I don't want to sound like I'm being repetitive, but again, this is up to the individual. You have to figure out what you like and what you're good at. These two options that you've given in this question is basically, do you like the internal accounting? Do you want to work for a company that does as an accountant, or do you want to work for an accounting firm that where you won't get nearly as deep into the company, but you'll actually work with a lot of different companies? My preference, the accounting firm is probably going to pay more money. And you're going to work a lot more hours, probably. At least if it's in the US, if you have a CPA and you're working for an accounting firm, you are going to be putting an enormous number of hours for not very good pay. But if you stay with it, you can end up getting much more. You become a partner, and you'll end up getting a very high salary. Working for a company as a management accountant, it's going to give you a different set of skills. Again, it's going to help you work with other managers of other departments in a very deep sense, and to become more of a consultant. So, the short answer to this is it depends on what you like. If it's just money you're after, probably the accounting firm. If you really want to put your best skills to work, then you just have to figure out whether you like to work for one company and get very in depth, or do you want to work for an accounting firm and get a surface understanding of many companies.
Thanks, Aaron, for your sharing and answering these questions. I hope most of you will have a deeper understanding about how to make your career better. Let's say goodbye to Aaron. Bye, Aaron.
Okay, so you're welcome, and thank you very much. Bye-bye now. Take care.
接下来就到了我们最激动人心的抽奖环节了。我们后台运营的工作人员已经给出了中奖名单，让我们来看一下是哪些同学如此幸运呢？ 恭喜孙梦、吴宇翔同学获得4大投行出差旅行箱，杨子、毕文静和单嘉文同学获得我们500元的现金求职礼券。没有获得这些礼物的同学们，请不要灰心，回复暗号给我们的后台运营人员，我们还有最新 CPA 备考资料和1对1一次简历诊断还在等着你们。本次节目的直播就要结束了，感谢大家对海归求职网的关注和海职 TV 的帮助，我们下期节目再见。